Welcome back, Guardians. Okay, this is my second attempt. First one was I had the mic muted. Let me take a drink here real fast. I'm having a brunch basically, or I skipped breakfast. I'm having lunch. However, which one you want to look at it. It's basically, yeah, that's the word. Um, Two scrambled eggs mixed in with pan fried rice and a shit ton of seasonings. Not quite a curry, but kind of close. It's got a lot of Mediterranean flair in it. Excuse me a second. All right, here we go. The light failed, but the darkness that followed was more than loss of light. In that hour was made a darkness that seemed not lack, but a thing with being of its own. For it was indeed made by malice out of the light, and it had power to pierce the eye, and enter the heart and mind, and strangle the very will. That's from the Silmarillion, Chapter 8, The Darkening of Valoran, by J.R.R. Tolkien, edited by his son Christopher. If that sounds familiar to you, it should. It's Destiny, basically. We have these lore books, a shit ton of lore books, that by and large do describe for the entirety of the Destiny experience from Destiny 1 on up. Really, it does. But one of the things that it seems to waffle back and forth on is the role the light and darkness play in the game, because it is light and dark, and it's not necessarily light good, dark evil, because it is still good versus evil, but there are overlaps. You take the Drifter for one thing. He's a rogue light bearer, yet he's hanging out here at the tower like nothing's wrong, giving us the game of Gambit, which, of course, he alludes in his dialogue that we're not supposed to tell Zavala or Shax about this, but I think it would be pretty ridiculous to think that they're not aware, uh, mainly because it's been on their doorstep for like what the last 5 years, something like that. The point being is this: that the passage here in the Silmarillion, which, by the way, I've always wanted to read this book, and well, not recently, but I have come into an older copy that dates. Oh man, what's the print on this thing? It's a battered up. This looks like it came out of the Golden Age. I'm not kidding. It is quite the artifact here. Um, it's been a while since I've had to look through hard copy mastheads to get a publication date on things. 19. No, the first Ballantine Books edition was March '79. This is a 1982. Yeah, based on the cover art. So this is a 1982 publication. Um, Not that old, not really that old compared to the fact that the Silmarillion's been around forever, since Tolkien apparently, because they are his notes and his letters collected and edited and pieced together, by his son. So yeah, they talk about how the light of Iluvatar, the two trees, uh, was overshadowed by Morgoth, who was the first Dark Lord of Middle Earth, and a being that was corrupted by him called Ungoliant. And she presents herself as a giant spider, which, conjures up all kinds of imagery, dark webs and things, Strand, in this encroaching darkness that was born out of malice for the light. So it seems like when we think about Destiny, think of these concepts here in the Silmarillion and compare to the Destiny backgrounds. It seems pretty evident that our interpretation that from the books and all that stuff that the lore readers throw out there, that the darkness really did come because of the light. As light shines, it creates shadows. This is a necessity. But the darkness itself is not malicious, nor is it malign, but the powers that manipulate it, the powers that use it as a weapon against those who prefer the light, uh, they are weapons. They are corrupted. They are evil. So, per the title of this video, of this journal entry, how can this give us an idea of what's going to happen after the final shape? And the final shape isn't really the final shape. Is the witness really the true big bad? Because I have a feeling that the witness is not Morgoth. It is not Malcor, the same creature, basically. Nor is he Sauron. I think the witness is Sauron. If we're going to draw parallels, like I said, between the two storylines, I think that Sauron and the witness share similar grounds, similar levels of power and influence and importance in the story. I feel that even going as far back as the Veil, even as going as far back as the Worm Gods, who were corrupted by the Witness, think about that. Um, I didn't check my bounties; I just grabbed them and ran. But I have a feeling that the Witness is basically because you could say that Nezarek was Sauron, um, wanting power for himself and feigning allegiance to Sauron. But it's like, oh, that's weird. It's the same bounties as it was yesterday. Kinetic. Oh no, only kinetic. Okay, so machine guns and solars. Okay, cool. We're good then. Um, I think that Nezarek might be Rima Wormtongue uh, in the Third Age, if you will. Um, it could be, I believe, Fenway even, who was the creator of the Silmarillions, but that would be giving Rima way too much credit and talent. So if we think of, but Fenway himself was never really a follower of Morgoth or Sauron. He didn't fall to either one. I have not read through the entirety of the Silmarillion, and have only actually exposed myself to cursory summaries, courtesy of the One Ring, Nerd of the Rings. Sorry, the Nerd of the Rings, not the One Ring. Don't. Ugh. The Nerd of the Rings. He talks a lot about the One Ring, not the show, the actual Ring of Sauron and why it was made and what its implications are to the general plot. So yeah, if you really want to get into the deep dive of the Silmarillion and the history of the First Age of Middle Earth, I would definitely go check out Nerd of the Rings. But yeah, I have a feeling that it's going to be revealed in the final shape. That the final shape is not necessarily the goal of the witness, but rather the thing that drew the witness out. I think the final shape is actually going to be revealed to be either Malakath, not Malakath, that's the orc deity, Morgoth or Malkor, and or Sauron. I think the final shape is actually going to be the reveal of the true puppeteer behind all these light dark wars, and we might be kind of surprised. I have some theories, and I'm just going to throw them out there right now. I think that the Traveler is going to be Malkor. I think that the Traveler started off as a malicious being who looked out upon creation and said, I could do better, and I want this for myself, which is what Malkor did in the first songs of Luvatar. When Middle Earth was being created, when Anu was being made, uh, Malkor corrupted the song and wanted to sway the creatures that were coming into being to be followers of his will, which is, a basic thing in all of, storytelling. Most every villain's motivation, most every protagonist's motivation, not necessarily a good guy or a bad guy, antagonist or protagonist, would be a fluid term. Um, their motivation is greed, which is actually just a extension of laziness, and laziness is an extension of fear. So, if you're using the tools of fear, that makes you a bad guy by our moral definitions, but that's not really the point. So, I have a feeling that the final shape is going to reveal that there's a dark part of the Traveler, that the Traveler is actually, well, actually, it could be even that the Traveler is the Silmarils, because they were created as a backup plan to the trees. I don't remember their names. Um, and yeah, eventually those trees did get stilled, and the Silmarils were eventually, lost for all ages. And so I have a feeling that the Traveler is going to be the final shape. I think that something in the Traveler created this creature, this thing, this paracausal entity, if you want to call the Traveler an entity. Um, and that we're going to realize that neither Nezarek nor the Witness are even close to being Saruman or Malkor. That they are in fact just Grima Wormtongue and Saruman. And I do find that if I haven't quite dug the lore out yet, but if I recall some of the stuff that I'd listened to, Nezarek betrayed the Witness, trying to start its own cult, and was subsequently, punished. And that's why they have the artifact called Nezarac's Sin. It's not Nezarac's sin against the city or the traveler or the light. It's Nezarac's sin against his master or its master, um, the, uh, the true creature of contempt for all creation. I mean, because it makes sense. I mean, why would the traveler go through the universe, tempting, basically tempting entire species with power and influence, and then just fuck off once the so-called darkness shows up or the witness shows up? Interesting thoughts, I think. But yeah, you go ahead and mull this over. Go check out Nerd of the Rings for damn sure. It is a good channel, and you'll probably have to dig a little back in his history for the stories that refer to the Silmarillions and Malcor in Sauron's early age. And until then, have a great time. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Be well and play nice. Read a book.